Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Huck. Today I'm doing the Finally Fall book tag. So I actually did this tag last year also, and thought it'd be fun to do it again this year to get in the spirit for fall. I actually haven't been feeling very autumnal yet this year. I just haven't been in the fall spirit, but it is actually starting to feel like fall now. It's starting to get cooler outside. There's starting to be crunchy leaves. So that inspired me to do the fall themed video. I have the questions here on my phone, and the first one is, in the fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. And for this one, I'm going to choose The Lost Queen by Signe Pike. I just read this at the end of September and really loved it. It's the first book in a trilogy. I believe it's going to be a trilogy eventually. So this is historical fiction set in medieval Scotland. It is following the sister of the man who inspired the story of Merlin. It starts with her as a young child and follows her through her adult life and her marriage and everything as she is becoming the Lost Queen. And the setting in this is absolutely beautiful. As I said, it is medieval Scotland. So much of this book takes place outside, especially since a lot of their spirituality revolves around nature and trees and things like that. So they spend a lot of time in the forest and describing sacred groves of trees, and it's just so beautiful. It's so richly written. Oh, there go the dogs. When I was reading this, I could feel what it was like to be in that forest, and it was just absolutely beautiful. The setting of this is so gorgeous. So much about this book is so wonderful, but the writing and how it really brings the setting to life is one of the things that I loved the most about it. Question 2 is, nature is beautiful but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. And for this I am choosing a series, which is the Time series by Megan Morrison. So the first book is Grounded, The Adventures of Rapunzel, and the second book is Disenchanted, The Trials of Cinderella. This is a middle grade series, and these are really fun. I really enjoy them as a middle grade series, but one of the things that I liked most about these is that they do deal with heavier topics and have heavier themes in them. Not exactly like loss or grief, but each of them has something that they're really tackling. So the first book, Grounded, talks a lot about love and toxic relationships and finding yourself and understanding what is a manipulative or toxic relationship and what are healthy relationships. And then the second book, Disenchanted, talks a lot about workers' rights and safe workplace practices. So for both of these, one of the things I liked most about them was that they did have heavier themes. They weren't just like a fun adventure. Although I love a good fun adventure, I think the themes in these really is what made them stand out. Question 3 is, fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. And for this I'm going to choose The Sacred Enneagram by Christopher Heuertz. So this is one that talks about the Enneagram, which is kind of a personality assessment that people use a lot for spirituality and personal development. And one of the things that I really liked about this one is that it really drew a lot of parallels and connections between the different types, and it kind of created different ways of grouping them, because very often they're grouped as there are 3 that are in the heart center, 3 that are in the head center, and then 3 that are in the body center. But then he did other ways of showing commonalities between the different types. It's hard to explain what it was, but I thought it was really interesting. It gave another way of thinking about the different types and how they connect and relate to each other. Question 4 is, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend time with the people we love. Name a fictional family, household, friend group that you would like to be a part of. Now, I think last year I probably chose the Raven Boys for this, which still holds true. I would really love to be a part of that friend group because they're all just so lovable. But for the sake of variety, I actually just came across another group that I would really enjoy being a part of, which is the Waverly Family from Garden Spells by Sarah Addison Allen. I just recently read this, and it's such a heartwarming story. It's set in a small South Carolina or North Carolina town. one of the Carolinas. And it follows a family that every one of them has something a little bit magical about them. They each have some like magical power, but it's like a very subtle magic. And in it, it also has baking magic, which is really fun. And there's a magical garden, and it's just like such a heartwarming, cute book. But I would love to be a part of the Waverly family. They're a little bit eccentric, but they're all very lovable. And you get a special power, because I would love to have one of their like subtle but cool special powers. So I would love to be a part of this family and be in this town, because it's just like a very sweet small town. Then we have the colorful leaves are piling up on the ground, show us a pile of fall colored spines. And I actually did not plan for this one. All of the other questions I had things picked out, so I'm gonna have to find some fall colored spines now. Okay, so I have some books now. So here's my stack of fall colored spines. I don't know how well the color is coming up on this because of how bright my light is. But this one is Inkspell, or Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. Then we have Sea of Monsters by Rick Riordan, Sibyl's Secret by Juliet Marillier, The Caller by Juliet Marillier, and Shadowfell by Juliet Marillier. So these two are a little bit more pink than autumnal colors, but that's okay. And I've lost count of which number question we're on, so the next question is, fall is the perfect time for some storytelling. By the fireside, share a book wherein somebody is telling a story. And for this, I am choosing The Harp of Kings by Juliet Marillier. I always have to have a Juliet Marillier book in every tag. And pretty much any of Juliet Marillier's books actually could have fit for this one, because in almost all of these, there's some element of storytelling. It's not a book where like the whole book is somebody telling a story, but there are always elements of storytelling in her books where like they'll have a bard or a minstrel come and like tell everyone a story that ends up being relevant to the plot, or like there will be people around the fire at night telling stories. So in almost all of her books, there is a part where we hear a story and a piece of like traditional lore that then gets woven into the story of the book. So the next question is, the nights are getting darker, share a dark, creepy read. Now, I don't really have a lot of dark, creepy reads. I don't read a lot of things that I would consider dark and creepy, or like some things that are dark but maybe not creepy. So I'm just gonna go with Middle Game by Shauna McGuire because I love this book and I wanted to talk about it. And it's a little dark. There are some things that are creepy. This just came out this year. It is a standalone that is like sci fantasy. It has alchemy. It follows a brother and sister. One of them represents the embodiment of all math and one of them represents the embodiment of all language, and together they balance each other and are able to kind of manipulate the forces of the universe. But there are definitely some dark parts. Alchemy can get pretty dark. There is an alchemist who is trying to control them, and they're also, from the cover you may be able to tell, this story involves the Hand of Glory, which is a very like dark, creepy part of alchemy. So this book maybe kind of counts for this. And the next question is, the days are getting colder, name a short heartwarming read that could warm up somebody's cold and rainy day. And I'm going to reuse one of the books I just talked about, which is Garden Spells by Sarah Addison Allen, because this is a very short read. It's part of a duology, but it could also just be read as a standalone if you wanted to, but it is very heartwarming and very sweet. As I said, it takes place in a small North Carolina town, and it's following these two sisters who have special powers, and there's baking magic and a magical garden, and there's a little bit of like wholesome romance in it, and it's just so sweet and heartwarming. The next question is, fall returns every year, name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. I was actually just thinking about this book the other day, so it seemed like the perfect choice for this question, which is Wise Child by Monica Furlong. This is one that I read like as a kid, and then I think I reread it maybe like 3 or 4 years ago and still really loved it. And this is a series I would love to return to. It's a trilogy that takes place, I think, in like medieval, this may also be in medieval Scotland, but again, it has like a wise woman healer character. She takes in a young girl that everyone calls Wise Child and raises her and teaches her about healing arts and things like that. And I just love stories like this, like that. And I was just thinking about this one the other day and how much I would love to reread it. And the last question is, fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. So I don't have a lot of like cozy reading accessories specifically. Most of the time, if I want to feel cozy while I'm reading, I just read in bed, and that's about as like specifically cozy as I get. Sometime if I can get my dog to sit in the bed with me, that is also like, if I'm feeling cozy, that just adds a layer of coziness. But something that I thought of was this sweater that I just recently got. It is just this really soft kind of oatmeal colored cardigan, and I have been wearing it all the time. I've pretty much been just like living in this sweater. If I'm in my house, I'm probably wearing this sweater. I think I wore this in my September wrap-up video also because I didn't want to change out of it, so I just decided to wear it in the video. So this isn't exactly like a reading accessory, reading specific accessory, but I do read while wearing this sweater a lot, just because I wear it all the time. So that is all for my Finally Fall book tag. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye!